kind of looking towards the future, right? So you had alluded to it earlier, the landscape between the last couple of years and what we're seeing coming up in 2023, especially in the automation space, be it, automating things on factory floors or being automation groups is probably going to be a little bit different for 2023 and maybe beyond that. Can you tell us some of your thoughts as to what that landscape is going to look like?
Sure. And again, these are my opinions, just based on my experience, and don't place any bets on them. The last couple of years have been wildly different than anything in the automation industry. I've seen ups, I've seen downs, but I don't think anybody's seen what we've seen the last couple of years. And there's a lot of different factors. Obviously, COVID was one of them. Just a disruption in everything, a supply chain disruption in how we work and the number of people working and all. But there's also, I think, COVID also showed that there was an underlying demographic problem too in the United States of the aging workforce and the baby boomers retiring. Maybe retiring a little bit early, so it wasn't because of COVID, but it was exacerbated by COVID, perhaps. So the last couple of years have been amazing for everybody. Any automation company worth their salt has had record years the last couple of years. With a cooling off of the economy, with interest rates going up, with threats of recession, with inflation, manufacturing companies tend to be conservative. They are starting to retract a little bit. They had their heyday as well. All the retail companies, the manufacturers, they couldn't produce enough goods. They're starting to see things soften a bit, I think, as well. And I think that 2023 is still going to be it's going to be certainly a net positive growth. It's still going to be a growth. And I think automation, for the next foreseeable 10, 15, maybe even 20 years is going to see a net growth. But we're not going to be seeing what we saw over the last couple of years. So I'm afraid that there are going to be some automation companies that, scaled up maybe a little bit too much, a little too rapidly. And they may be looking at having to tighten the belt a little bit. I would say that my advice would be right now, be conservative. Go out and find those customers that are your good customers and try to figure out a plan, a roadmap for continuing to automate with them for the next couple of years. There'll always be new customers, but there are also going to be a lot of customers that we're thinking about automation, and now they're kind of pausing a little bit. Backing up and saying, well, we're going to see how things, pan out. I'm not sure how this is going to pan out, but, there's been a lot of talk of layoff, well, not talk, but actual layoffs. A lot of the tech industry is getting a lot of news, but even within the retail industry, Amazon, McDonald's announced 200,000 the other day. There's some other, DoorDash. So there's a lot of those, kind of, entry to mid-level positions that are going to be, people are going to be, out of work. Manufacturers who have for the last couple of years been crying that they cannot find any labor, which is true, may find themselves in a position where now they have quite a bit of labor. So I'm wondering, how many of them will then say, well, now we don't need to automate because we've got labor. In my opinion, a little short-sighted. It's going to come back to bite them in the end, but you can't control what those manufacturers are doing. So definitely going to see some softening, I think, in 2023. And companies just need to be, prudent and conservative in the way they're moving forward. The strong ones will be fine, but I think there probably will be some, casualties as well too.